Sustainable Development Goal SDG 4 seeks to ensure that all girls and boys complete a free, equitable and quality primary and secondary education. The Kenyan Constitution equally recognizes the need for basic education for all children under the Bill of Rights. This has seen the government push for the 100% transition from primary to secondary education in a bid to attain the universal basic education goal. This policy has lately seen the Cabinet Secretary for Education, Professor George Magoha, engage in a door-to-door campaign to mop out candidates who sat the Kenya Certificate of Primary Education examinations and are yet to enroll for secondary school education. So tonight on the front row, we interrogate this 100% transition policy and its implementation so far. Is it working? What does Kenya need to do to attain the universal basic education? Our panelists will break down the issues from various perspectives as we seek the best way forward. Good evening and thank you for joining us tonight here on the front row. I am Akisa Wandera. In the panel tonight, we have Dr. Julius Otundo, who's a senior lecturer at the Riara University, Ken Echesa, who's an education law expert, as well as Nicholas Mayo, who's the chairperson of the National Parents Association. In between, we'll also be speaking to a high school teacher who will be giving us the perspective of teachers. They're getting as many students in school as possible, but can they handle the numbers? What does the ratio look like? So we'll be looking at all these issues around the 100% transition and what really it means for the entire sector in the country. Thank you for joining us tonight. So then let's take a look at a report that my colleague Willie Lusige worked on the day that was the deadline for those joining Form 1, where Education Cabinet Secretary Professor George Magoha warned parents of learners who would have failed to beat the deadline that they risk arrest and prosecution. Magoha said a number of regions, including Western region, should attain more than 92%, while Nyanza and Central are the best performing regions in terms of the numbers. Let's take a look at that report before we get into the conversation.
As the government anticipates a 100% transition of learners from primary to secondary schools, Friday 3rd marks the deadline of 2021 Form 1 admission. Education CS George Magoha, while touring a Sirisia mixed secondary school in Busia, warned that parents who will not beat the deadline will face the music.
The challenge that I'm seeing is that certain people are waiting to come and be taken to school.
In terms of numbers, Nyanza and Central region topping the enrollment with more than 98% Form 1 admission.
The Nyanza region is doing very well, and it's at 98%, just like Central.
In Nyanza, only Siaya County has recorded low numbers, similar to Busia County in Western Kenya that has only recorded 85%.
This Western region has no reason why it should be at 92%. That's why I chose to come here.
Magoha warning those parents who will not make sure their children join Form 1 with no apparent reason that they risk arrest and prosecution.
Even this year, we are going to achieve the 100% transition.
The Ministry of Education noting that it will handle the issue of infrastructure for learners in school, noting that half of all secondary schools in the country are yet to fill to capacity.
We have continued to address the infrastructure problem, but it may also, you may also know that up to 47% of all schools in the country are not filled to capacity.
Magoha accompanied Martin Were, an orphan who joined the Sirisia Secondary School in Busia.
Shida yenye ilifanya nikae nyumbani sana. Wazazi wangu wote wako na sikuwa na mtu wa kunileta shule. Hiyo ndio changamoto ambayo nilipitia sana.
Magoha said the exact statistics will be issued after the end of Friday deadline. Willie Lusige, KTN News.
Right, gentlemen, this scenes we have been seeing for the past about a week from various parts of the country. The CS himself leading a door-to-door campaign. We've seen Mombasa, we've seen Kisumu and other regions in the country. And in other areas, we've seen other education officers engage in this particular exercise. This would not be the first time we're having the conversation about the 100% transition policy. And why we are not seeing this happen. We've just seen Professor Magoha there say that some schools are not filled to capacity. So then why are kids not in school then? Professor, perhaps I'll start with you, Dr.
Good. Thanks, Akisa, for this session. I think I want to say that what we are doing at the moment is a reactional approach that doesn't solve a problem for life. When you look at the basic, the constitution of this country, and you look at Article 53, 54, and 55, that is grossly violated. And so when you look at what Prof is doing at the moment, is it really sustainable? And is it what we need to do every time? Because what we are lacking is a framework for transition. There should be a clear framework, and education is a community-based project. The community must be fully involved in matters education. And when it comes to transition, there should be clear mapping up of students as early as possible, looking at even their financial status and all that stuff. Then the government needs to increase and improve the infrastructure of day schools. If you asked me, this country needs to work on a system where we have less boarding schools but and have more day schools with high quality standards.
That's where the free education
That's where the free education is supposed to be, actually. That's what it means to have free education. India doesn't have boarding schools. They have huge numbers. And what is it that we are lacking to do? We are concentrating on boarding schools that cannot accommodate these numbers. Infrastructure we have in schools as per now has been developed over time. I'm not too sure that we'll have manna falling from heaven to construct schools as fast. So there should be an intended purpose to improve the infrastructure in public day schools. So that some of the reasons why even parents don't take kids to school is because they don't have money to afford boarding. Right. Now, I have assumed my son or my daughter has been taken by Magoha and his team. How sustainable is it? The same student will sit at home because has no fees to pay for boarding. What about if the nearest secondary school, this student can walk in and out and receive the best education? Because I can decide as a parent and say I can't afford even lunch for the student. I can give packed lunch. But what students are going to school for is to learn. What the school should be concentrating on is to manage learning and not to manage just the institutions like that.
All right. Kenechesa, I don't know if you agree with Prof that perhaps I imagine the spirit is right for wanting a 100% transition because in turn we'll up the literacy levels in this country. But the implementation is where the problem comes in. Do you agree with that?
I agree with you that the intention for 100% transition is quite impressive. The idea that every child joining school at the ECD level should go to class 8 and then transit to the secondary school. However, the narrow interpretation and approach taken by the ministry is the one that is undermining this fundamental approach to education. According to the ministry, I think they interpret 100% transition to mean all students who sat class 8 should go to Form 1 without taking care of the quality, the kind of quality of education. And this is not achieving what Sustainable Goal number 4 sought to provide. Sustainable Goal number 4 talks about equity, relevance, and quality. If we are picking students from Standard 8 and throwing them in Form 1 and abandoning them at that level and telling the nation that in Busia, for example, we had 90 or 85%, in Coast we had 75, other regions are 100%.
3 counties, they've said, I think Bomet, Nyeri and another county, can't seem to remember, have 100% transition. Yeah.
What kind of education are they going to get in this 100% transition? And the government was not prepared. No, the ministry has not provided a clear framework of addressing challenges that come with 100% transition. Infrastructure in secondary schools, Akisa. I know of a number of schools in this country, even as the CS puts deceptively so a brave face and tells us that we have schools that are not filled to capacity. That is not the correct position. And I can tell the PS a number of schools that have converted their dining halls into dormitories. The PS was in Busia today. How I wish he would have had time to visit St. Anne's Kisoko Girls, where a dining hall has been converted into a dormitory because they don't have adequate infrastructure. You go to St. Mary's Girls Mumias. You go to Musoli Girls in Kakamega. Go to Keve Girls in Vihiga. These are schools that are having strained facilities. So if you are bringing a population of students from primary schools to strained facilities in secondary schools, you are only undermining the quality of education that these children are entitled to. And this goes towards frustrating the very right to education that is well articulated in Article 53 of our Constitution.
Someone calls it not just transition, but massification, that we have mass numbers in school. But are they getting the quality education while at it? Dr. Tundo, you've talked about we do not have the right framework or the approach. What should that look like from where you sit?
First, statistical analysis and mapping of students as they begin school. And you begin to ask yourself that at the beginning level, we have, say, this number of learners. Say if we have 5 million, so we expect the same to happen in the next 5 or so, or 8 or 10 years. So what are we doing in between the 10 years? So you draw a framework on infrastructure development. You draw another framework for equipping schools with enough teachers. Because as far as these students are also getting to the schools, I've been going around to inspect, to inspect some students who are on teaching practice from our university. And students are seated up to the brim of the class. The teacher cannot even move around. And then the teachers are few, basically in most of the schools. And schools like in the rural cannot even afford to employ teachers on board. And so there is no clear framework on, while these masses are getting in, what is the framework about teacher-student ratio? What is the framework of the exit in terms of the entry behavior and the exit behavior? Because it's one thing to pass through a building and get some grade, but is that what is intended for? So my thinking is that it is high time the government focused more on issues around education and began to develop a framework that is clear, that these numbers that are entering, these are the expected numbers that are supposed to exit. And we've looked at things that make them not to be able to exit at the same numbers, such that it's not just a transition period of passing through a classroom. And so we look at the framework around teacher-student ratio, we look at the framework around infrastructure, we look at the quality of service that needs to be offered in the schools. We have schools that even require 3 principals as we speak, because if you have 1,000 plus, is that effective leadership in a school, for example?
But Doc, some would argue that perhaps this should be a continuous exercise, that the government can't really wait until they have all this in place to implement this policy. It should be a continuous exercise, no?
True, Akisa. You know, we have been independent for how many years? And the literacy level in this country should be at 100% anyway. We should not even be struggling to push this to happen through. I think we have to reframe our priorities as a government and focus on the education of our children. You see, the sad thing is, I will do some research and find out how many of the public officers have children in public schools, and particularly public primary. The days I learned with teachers' children, nurses' children, doctors' children. Today, you don't find them in public education. So what does that mean? That we are only throwing some bones for the ones who want to pick it. Because where are our children? We need to address that. Because even if you ask me, myself seated here, my children are not in public school because the quality is low. So the big question is, if we do not trust our own programs, including the teachers, ask all the teachers, the children for public officers appear in national schools. Why? Because of the performance, and they get there. But I'll tell you for free, given the next 1 or 2 years, that we shall not have anything called a quality national school, because all of them are now overstretched. So for me, it's not about waiting. It's about putting the priorities right from the beginning.
Okay.
Yeah.
We have about 4 minutes before we take a break. And Ken, perhaps looking at Professor Magoha's tactics, door-to-door campaigns, what do you think about that? Is this approach working?
It's unnecessary, and the good professor should be at Jogoo House drawing a policy framework that will lead to proper implementation of 100% transition. What Professor Magoha is doing can well be done by the people we call curriculum support officers, who are in every area. We used to call them area education officers because they understand the villages, And this can be done in consultation with the local administration of that area. Going to Nyalenda in Kisumu or Kibera to fish out 1 or 2 strategic students who have not gone to school and appearing that you are sponsoring them in school does not solve the problem. So we are more interested in doing a public relation exercise with this particular program to create a false impression that 100% transition is working. It is not working. And then where does this transition start and where does it stop? To Magoha and the ministry, it starts from class 8 and stops at Form 1. Do we look at the impact of this transition post-Form 4 and then post-university? Unfortunately, we are heaping all blames on 844 curriculum as a failed curriculum because it is giving us half-baked graduates and half-baked professionals, not knowing that some of the contributing factors to these half-baked graduates are the omissions of programs such as 100% transition.
It's a systemic issue, is that what you're saying? It's a
yes,
systemic
it's a systemic issue.
dealing with.
And in the end, it's going to Prof is here. Ask Prof, even his own teacher students, some of them are just as illiterate as students they're going to teach because they have come through a process that had strained facilities, inadequate teacher profession. Therefore, I don't think the CS is doing the right thing by walking around villages and collecting students. And he has made a statement that those whose children have not reported to school will be prosecuted.
Yeah.
I am an advocate, and I can tell Magoha that he will not achieve or get any conviction. Because in criminal law, we look at the act and the intention. The act is unlawful, not taking the children to school. But what is the intention? Most of these parents do not have funds to even buy school uniform, to even start up the lunch program in schools. So they are not having children at home because they so desire. No parent properly directing his mind to the future of their child will sit with children in homes if they are able. Magoha should be asking himself, why are parents not able to take their children to school? They're saying we have free secondary education. We do not have free secondary education in this country. In fact, it was free when it was not free.
We're getting back to that, and you'll explain that. Prof, you'll also be talking to us about Magoha's approach to this. Is it the right one? If not, what would you have expected to see him do in such a period when we are expecting full transition to Form 1? What has been your experience? Are you a teacher? Are you a parent? What's your experience like? You could chime into this conversation at Akisa Wandera, at KTN News KE. The hashtag to use is Front Row. You can also text us on 22155. I'm really interested to hear some of your thoughts on the 100% transition policy. Is it working? If not, what does the government need to do to make sure it does for Kenya to achieve universal basic education? You're watching The Front Row. Remember, later on we'll also be speaking to Nicholas Mayo, who's the chairperson of the National Parents Association. He'll be joining us shortly when we get back to just also get the parents' perspective on this subject matter. Let's take a quick break. We'll be back with more.
This is KTN News.